Slenderman. I never should have read up on him. I was curious. I couldn't help it. If I had known what would happen, I wouldn't have ever joined that stupid subreddit. I think I may have found a way to keep him away from me, but I'll explain that later. It started about 2 months ago. Things were going great. My girlfriend and I were going steady. I had an apartment and a good job. It was mostly because I could go on Reddit all day. One day, while browsing Reddit, I became bored with my usual subreddits. FU712 had been rather dull, so I clicked on the random button. It brought me to r/Slenderman. The fuck is Slenderman, I thought. After reading the rules and the basic principles, I had it down to a T, or so I thought. Slenderman was some sort of supernatural being that stalked people who believed in him. There were 4 stages a Slenderman believer would go through. Number 1. They become interested in the topic of Slenderman. Number 2. They become obsessed with Slenderman. Number 3. They become paranoid and begin to seek him out. And number 4. Slenderman appears to them and begins stalking them. What a load of shit. Who could even be interested in this? Just some really tall guy with no face that walks around stalking people? Oh, I forgot to mention, he has like a dozen limbs that he can extend, like something out of a comic book. Well, since I was bored, I decided to read some of the posts. Most of them were just people discussing whether or not Slenderman actually exists, but I did find some personal stories and encounters. Some of these encounters were quite disturbing. One of them actually involved someone seeing Slenderman when they were on the 5th floor of a hospital. Some of the strangest posts were videos submitted by a guy named Marble Hornet. He never replied to any comments or messages sent to him. He was just there. After what seemed like 10 minutes, I glanced at the clock. 5:30? I should have been gone half an hour ago. I packed my stuff and left. Now, my apartment. My apartment is on the basement floor. Only 2 other rooms are down there. The furnace room and the landlord's office. I don't know why he had one, he just used his suite on the 5th floor most of the time. My apartment only had 3 windows. One in the living room, one in the kitchen, and one in my bedroom. The windows were at ground level, but very close to the ceiling. The apartment wasn't very big, but it was all I needed. After arriving home, I made a small dinner consisting of a hot pocket and a can of iced tea. Sat down on the couch and turned on the TV. Nothing very interesting was on tonight, though, just crappy sitcoms and reality shows. I decided to play Team Fortress or something. I walked over into my bedroom and sat down at my computer. For some reason, I decided to go on Reddit again. I, not paying attention, opened up the Slenderman subreddit. I began reading more personal stories and participated in some debates on the existence of Slenderman. I was very skeptical, to say the least. It seemed like a giant load of bullshit to me. But a very interesting giant load of bullshit. I watched almost all of Marble Hornet's videos and came to the conclusion that Slenderman was not real. I stood up from my computer and walked back into the kitchen to grab a quick snack. Upon returning to my room, I noticed it was 5 a.m. The hell? I said aloud, stunned. I'd been browsing Reddit for over 10 hours. I finished my snack and jumped into bed. Lying in my bed, all I could think about was Slenderman. Was he real? Probably not. What if? No, that's stupid. My mind was in turmoil. I couldn't sleep no matter how hard I tried. I couldn't keep my eyes away from the windows. I would sit and stare out the windows, wondering if Slenderman was right outside. Waiting. I tried to go watch TV, but I had the feeling I was being watched the whole time. I couldn't shake it. I was terrified. I closed the blinds on the windows, and I felt like I could finally get some sleep. But it was too late. It was time for work. I called in sick the next morning. I noticed that I was checking corners and turning on lights. I was afraid of being alone and in the dark. Slenderman was the only thing on my mind. I began to pretty much call him out. I began to question my earlier conclusion that Slenderman wasn't real. On my way to work the next day, I kept glancing at the trees, hoping to see Slenderman standing amongst them, just so I knew. Work was uneventful. However, on my way home, I thought I saw something in the trees. Something white, about halfway up the majority of the trees. This freaked me out, and I sped home. Once in my apartment, I closed the windows, closed the blinds, and locked the doors. I set up my webcam to record my room and sat down on my bed. I laid down and waited. After a while, I fell into a light sleep. I awoke early in the morning. I had completely forgotten about the night before. I was watching TV when I noticed my front door was slightly open. I felt my heart drop. I slowly stood up and walked towards it. I closed the door, locked it again, and walked into my bedroom to check the webcam footage. It was mostly just me sleeping, but at 3:33 a.m., the camera distorts and it becomes almost impossible to see what's happening. But I can clearly see a door opening. Not the front door, the door to my bedroom, slowly creaking open. After that, the camera just becomes static for about 30 minutes. It becomes clear again. There isn't anything that can explain this. My only conclusion is that I have drawn Slenderman to me. I wish I'd never visited that stupid subreddit. Yes, how I plan to rid myself of him. I'd like to thank you. Thank you, the reader, for reading this. You may think that this is a load of bullshit, but remember, I was the same way. If you've taken the time to read this entire story, you know everything I know about Slenderman. Therefore, maybe you will attract him more than I. Maybe your curiosity will get the best of you. Hopefully, you will begin to look for him. Oh God. I just heard the front door open. It's 3:33 a.m. Reddit, whatever you gave to me, take it back.